There's a strange phenomenon that every business owner experiences. They might not know what it's called, and they might not even know that they're going through it, but subconsciously they're hyper aware of how it's damaging their sales and their profits. In this video, I'm going to take you through exactly what that problem is and how to solve it. So here's the problem. When someone joins your list, when they follow you on social media, they're excited. They've opted in for something, they've seen you recommend it, and they're a candidate for buying what you have to sell. Now, if we think of everyone who opts in as a big circle, you've got 100% of people there. About 20% of those people, they're going to drop off within a couple of days. And that's not necessarily anything that you did wrong. That's simply how humans are. A certain amount of us, we're super susceptible to dopamine. We want a quick result. We're easily distracted. We're like the squirrel with the acorn. We see it, we get some of it, we're on to the next thing, right? You lose 20% of people almost straight away. There's not a whole lot you can do about that. Then you've got another 20% of people. Now, they give you a little bit more time. They might read a couple more emails. They might browse around your website a bit more. They might see a few of your posts, maybe even scroll back a couple of weeks, months worth of content. But they'll probably give you a couple of weeks and then they're going to bounce as well. So all of a sudden, in a few weeks, we've gone from 100% of people down to about 60%. Now, the next 20% or so of people, they'll give you around about 3 to 6 months. They might even buy something from you, whether that's a cheap product, whether it's a course, whether it's even some coaching or some higher price mentoring. But they may buy something from you, they may not, but they're going to be there for about 3 to 6 months. Then, same thing, they drop off at some point. And like the other stuff, it's not necessarily anything that you did, although it might be, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But again, it's just kind of human nature. Then you've got another 20% of people, and they'll hang around for about a year. Call it 9 months, call it 18 months, but it probably averages out about a year. And then they're on something else. They probably go a bit further down the rabbit hole with you. They maybe buy a few more products, maybe have a conversation with them like on the phone or via DM or an email back and forth or something. You get to know them a bit. They maybe don't become sort of lifelong friends, but they're the kind of people who their name shows up and you recognize it. You know that they're good people, they help your engagement, all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, they're going to drop off at some point as well. And again, nothing necessarily with what you did. It might just be that their interests change. They find another creator in your space, or another expert who they tend to vibe with a bit more. But all of a sudden, you've gone from 100% of people following you being engaged down to only about 20% after roughly a year. Now, these are the people that I call lifers, and they're going to stick around. So I've got probably a few dozen people who followed me since back in my fitness days in like 2015, 2016. They bought fitness products from me. They bought stuff and I got into copywriting. They've had mentoring, they've had coaching, they've bought ABP as well. Or maybe they haven't bought everything, but they're still there. I still recognize their names. I know them really well. They come to events. Even if they haven't come to an event, I probably would recognize them in the street and vice versa. What's cool about this is that sometimes you don't have to work that hard with these people to get them to buy more stuff from you. And I don't say that being like from a money grabbing perspective. It's more just you'll put something out and they'll go, cool, I trust that person, I'm going to buy it, which is amazing. That's something that I try and get every single person I work with to have, because when you have lifers like that, it just makes business a lot easier. The problem is, obviously, if we're kind of paying for leads or if we're putting effort into social media content or whatever it is, we kind of want more than 20% of people to hang around. You can build a good business off that 20% of people, but you're never really going to scale. It can be a nice lifestyle business, but ultimately you need to do a little bit more to keep people engaged. And that's what this boils down to. I call this the single door problem, and it's what a lot of people have. Effectively, if you imagine your business just as a single door with one offer and one way in, that's why you tend to lose people. Because not everyone's going to go through that door, and if they do, not everyone's going to stay around, right? They want other stuff. They're off looking at other offers, they're looking at other people in your space. So what we need to do to keep people on side is to create what I call intersection offers. Now, what this isn't is it's not a massive pivot in your offer, because that would be disingenuous. It wouldn't be congruent with what you're doing. If all of a sudden you went from doing, fat loss coaching to business coaching, it's a bit of a weird shift, and it maybe seems like you're just in it for the money. So that's not what an intersection offer is. But what I want you to do is imagine that you've got two circles, and one of those circles is everything within your current offer, and the other one is everything outside of it. An intersection offer happens when those circles start to overlap, but it has to happen in quite a natural and quite an organic way. And the way I like to think about this and the way I like to coach it is I say to people, look, think of the stuff you're doing outside of business. What are you passionate about? What are you learning about? What are you interested in? where there might be a bit of a natural collaboration between your main offer and this new different thing. So maybe you're a sales trainer, right? And maybe you've been studying stand-up comedy. You've maybe gone to some stand-up classes. You've read a couple of books on stand-up. Maybe you just even like comedy, right? You could do something with that. Maybe you have a new program called the Yes and Yes method, and you look at how comedy helps with sales. So you look at comedic timing, you look at word choices, you look at how comedians tell stories, and you form a new program based around that. It's not something completely different, so your audience don't suddenly go, what on earth is this person doing? I followed them for sales advice and now they're teaching stand-up. It's more that natural collaboration between two things, and it's cool because you're interested in it, right? It feels very natural because you're bringing your hobby into your business. Or you could be a personal finance coach who loves minimalism, and you can bring that into your offer. So, for example, you might have a program that's like Spend Less, Own More, where you talk about how building wealth is not necessarily about your investments, what you accumulate. It's more about working out what really matters to you, and how you can downsize your spending, how you can downsize your lifestyle and live a rich life without necessarily having lots in the bank, for example. Or like, great example, one that's very close to home is me. I was super into behavioral psychology. So a few years ago, I was just in my spare time listening to podcasts from people like Rory Sutherland, from Richard Shotton. I was reading more stuff from Daniel Kahneman and Dave Trott. I was like, this stuff's really cool, and I think it can help copywriters. Let's create that intersection offer where you bring together behavioral psychology and copywriting, and that's how ABP Mastery is born. No one turned around and went, well, that's a really weird offer. It doesn't make sense. What on earth are you doing? It wasn't like I combined, ballet dancing and copywriting, or archery and copywriting. And that's not to say those wouldn't work. Like, if you're creative, you could make that work. But it's more a case of, what am I doing? What kind of fits with my main offer? Let's bring that together. So you could even have if you're a fitness coach who's done some breath work, you could have the oxygen protocol for fat loss, for example. Or a business coach who's into Stoic philosophy, you have the Stoic CEO, the Stoic sales method, anything like that. There's a natural crossover which you can take advantage of. And creating these offers is actually pretty easy because you're kind of doing it anyway. And this is one area where I think AI can really help. So I've been very open about the fact I think AI has a lot of limitations, and you do have to be careful with this, because if you just go to AI and say, hey, I'm a nutritionist who's been really into, I've been reading James Clear, I'm super into habits. Please create me a new program based around that. It will be cliched, it will be generic, it will bring up terms that everyone's heard before. No one's going to be that interested in it. So you have to use AI kind of like a writing partner, something to bounce ideas off. Quiz it as well. Don't just take its suggestions, go back and forth. Give it examples and ask it to give you examples. Be critical of stuff. If something sounds a bit cringy or a bit forced to you, it's probably going to sound similar to your audience as well. And when it sounds like that, people don't buy. So it has to feel normal, it has to feel natural. But what I do is look into this and find something you like the look of, and then run a mini experiment. So a mini experiment could be as simple as going to social media in your stories and say, hey, I've been experimenting with this kind of stuff. I'm putting together a program based around X and Y. Would you be interested in it? Now, that's not going to be a signal of pure intent if people say, yes, I'm interested in it, because ultimately people often say, yes, I'd love that. And then loving something in theory and actually buying it, they're kind of two different things. So don't take it as gospel. But if you get some interest, follow up with those people. Say to them, okay, what do you like about this? What gets you excited about potentially doing something around these two ideas? How much would you be willing to pay for it? Could I take a deposit now? That's a really good yardstick to find out, actually, are people willing to pay for this? But if you get some good early feedback, run it as a micro offer, run a mini launch to it. Do something for, if you want to sell it for $1,000, run a special offer for $397, $497, something like that. If it doesn't take off, you've not lost much. You're still getting paid potentially for something that you'd be doing anyway. So when I created ABP, yes, I wanted people to buy, but did I care if that launch didn't absolutely knock it out of the park? Not really, because I created something that was cool. I really enjoyed putting together the trainings because it was stuff I was learning about anyway. And it meant I kind of got paid to learn, right? If even only 10 people had bought the course, I'd have been paid like a 5-figure fee for learning about stuff I was interested in. It's really not the end of the world if you don't have a record-breaking week or month or whatever of sales. So run a mini experiment like that, and if something takes off, that's when it can become a bigger offer. That's when you can run a larger scale launch. It might even overtake what your main offer is at the moment, and it could become your flagship program. One thing I love about this as well is it ties in really well to what I call temporal landmarks. So a temporal landmark is a point in time where people are more primed to buy, or when you can create an extra reason to buy. So the classic one is New Year, right? It's the fresh start effect. Everyone's more primed to buy in the niches they're interested in when January comes around, purely because it's New Year. Or it could be seasonal. It could be like a school's out for summer offer. It could be something in September when people are back to school. You can do like national holidays, that kind of thing. You can even be a bit weird with it. If it makes sense, link it into, I don't know, National Donut Day, National Cat Herder Day, National Talk Like a Pirate Day, anything like that. And by the way, those are all real days, amazingly. Anything like that works really well for this kind of thing because it's fun and it gives people a reason to buy. But the key is to be unique with it and to be driven by your own interests. If you just pluck something from thin air, it's not going to work. But if you're building that personal brand, which you absolutely should be, then people are going to know about your interests and passions and hobbies anyway. So I could create something that blends business and ultra running, for example, or maybe even business and coffee. There'll be a link in there somewhere. It might be too forced, but it might not be. The only way I'd know is if I tested it out with AI and if I ran some mini experiments. And the big thing to remember from this is that your audience evolves as you do. Like, you don't like the same things that you did 5 years ago today. You probably don't even like the same things you did 12 months ago as you did today. You'll be buying from other people. You'll be looking at other creators. You'll be interested in other things. You probably wouldn't buy in the same manner you did when you first joined someone's list. And your audience is the same as well. So yeah, you will get that natural drop off. That's kind of just what happens. But there are things you can do to stop it. And creating offers like this, creating intersection offers, it's a great way to do it and to have fun with what you're building at the same time. So like I said, you need a strong personal brand, you need intersection offers, and you need to talk to your audience. Like, people don't want to buy from a mindless drone all the time, and they don't want to buy from someone who only ever talks about the one thing that they sell. So have some fun with this, play around with it, and if you come up with an idea, I would love to hear what it is. So drop it in the comments below and let me know any questions.